Month, this Council has continued to advance meaningful dialogue and cooperation around our central theme these past months, capacity building to improve trade in the Americas as a pillar of inclusive and sustainable development. We have quorum, so I will proceed with today's order of business, and let me read it for you. First item, of course, is consideration and adoption of the draft order of business. Second, consideration of the draft roadmap for capacity building to improve trade in the Americas. And we will have some feedback from you and some initial discussions. It's not yet the final product, so we will give everybody at least 2 weeks to comment on it in writing, and we'll take that on board. Third item is CD sectoral ministerial process cycle. We will deal especially with education. And the fourth item is a very special one. That is the special recognition of Executive Secretary for Integral Development. I think you know her, Ms. Kim Osborne. And the fifth one, other business. I think we can wrap up a little bit early today, but let's see how it goes. So if there are no comments or objections on the draft order of business, then it's approved. And we go to the second item. That's the consideration of the draft roadmap. This roadmap represents the culmination of a semester-long, highly participatory process that has allowed member states, experts, and partners to articulate a shared vision for strengthening trade capacity across the hemisphere. As delegations will recall, the 5 thematic dialogues held since July generated a rich set of insights and priority areas that now inform the structure and ambition of this document. The roadmap outlines 5 complementary pillars. First, human capital and skills for trade, emphasizing the need to align TFED and workforce systems with trade-intensive sectors, expand language training, and strengthen public-private academic coordination to close persistent skills gap. Second, institutional and regulatory capacity, focusing on regulatory cooperation, streamlined administrative processes, and greater interagency coordination to reduce barriers that affect competitiveness and MSME participation. Third, MSME formalization, finance, and market access, addressing challenges related to informality, limited access to finance, and low export readiness, while proposing targeted tools, including digital transactions and export readiness support to help MSMEs integrate into value chain. 4, logistics, connectivity, and supply chain integration, highlighting opportunities to modernize customs, leverage digital platforms, improve multimodal corridors, and strengthen interoperability to reduce trade costs and enable nearshoring and regional value chain participation. And fifth, building resilience and sustainability, recognizing that small economies, women, youth, rural communities, and indigenous peoples often face additional constraints, and proposing tailored capacity building and digital inclusion initiatives to support their full participation in trade. Across these pillars, the roadmap proposes concrete activities, from working groups and communities of practice to digital trade initiatives, public-private advisory groups, and expanded cooperation through Cooperanet. The document also sets out a governance and monitoring framework, including collaboration with international partners that will help ensure accountability and track progress over time. The draft before you is therefore a reflection of the priorities, needs, and cooperation avenues identified by member states, and is intended to serve as a living framework that supports sustained institutional strengthening across the Americas. I now open the floor for initial comments from delegations on the substance of the draft roadmap, on its structure, and the proposed areas of cooperation. Your feedback today will help guide the next stage of consolidation. So what we intend to do actually is have a discussion today, get some feedback, allow all member states 2 weeks to write in further suggestions and comments, and then we'll finalize this roadmap before the end of the year, and during the next CD meeting in January, it will be approved formally. Thank you, and the floor is open. I recognize the Ambassador of Brazil.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to thank you for presenting the draft roadmap for improving trade in the Americas. We agree with the understanding set forth in the document that more inclusive development is related to investment and training of people and strengthening the institutions. Notwithstanding the merits of this initiative and the need for building human capacity and improving the technical abilities and technology abilities of the Americas, what's most important for advancing international trade and further inclusive development, we think it would be timely to highlight the importance for future discussions on this topic revolving around financing of the initiatives set forth here. In this way, we think that the draft should get input for discussions and not necessarily be put immediately into implementation by CD. We would suggest, furthermore, that the draft be added to the initiatives already existing to be discussed in the next discussions of CD of the 5 thematic areas in order to facilitate matters. Brazil is in favor of exploring partnerships with other sectors and regional partners, especially those in the Cúpula's working group to look at financing and investment and capacity building that would then enable countries to expand and improve their competitiveness and inclusivity in the hemisphere. In the proposals for expanding already existing programs such as Cooperanet or the Language Cooperation Program or the Economically Empowered Women for Resilient Societies. With regard to these, Brazil agrees with the OAS Secretary General that it's necessary to expand public knowledge about the role of the organization in this regard and the different initiatives available in order to promote more sustainable development in the Americas. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador, and I recognize Ecuador.
Gracias.
Thank you, Chair. Ecuador appreciates the presentation of this roadmap, the draft roadmap, to start conversations that we'll be having in this important forum. Ecuador believes that sustainable and inclusive development and investing in people and institutions is key for our region. All of the topics discussed here, digital transformation included, are vital for our country. But our delegation agrees with the importance of this document and the technical importance of its contribution. We'd like to have a little bit more time. We understand that there will be conversations going forward with each of the items highlighted, but unfortunately my delegation only had 2 days advance with the copy in Spanish, and so we'd request additional time so that we can have a richer exchange with our delegation and have more time to in detail analyze the documents, just as these documents merit.
Thank you. Yes, as I indicated, this is just the first feedback, and you will have 2 more weeks to give comments. And I think it's good if I will discuss this document also with the next chair of CD to see what their planning is, so that we can see how it will go further. Thank you. The Ambassador of Mexico is recognized.
Gracias.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. Good morning, fellow delegates. Good morning, Secretary Osborne. Mexico considers this dialogue very valuable over the last 6 months on the topic of developing capacities for improving trade in the Americas as a pillar of inclusive and sustainable development, focused on the definition of a roadmap for those identified skills, particularly in a case or a context of interruptions in global chains, digitalization, and new normative rules in the trade landscape. We appreciate this roadmap that was distributed and which pulls in key topics, the landscape in the region, the key priorities, and also actions to take to create constructive proposals to strengthen those skills and capacities within the trade landscape. We appreciate the support given to SMEs and MSMEs, which are motors of development, to make sure that trade and its benefits and investment is made to the people, and particularly those small businesses that are led by women, indigenous groups, and people in conditions of vulnerability who are often not integrated in supply chains. We agree on the importance of the adaptations to simplifying customs and normative processes, because oftentimes these tools are insufficient, but COPRENET and others are key to creating resilient and equitable societies. However, we believe that additional actions could strengthen the roadmap. For example, activities related to financial education and digital inclusion that last through consultations and collaboration with the Science and Tech Department, CONCIT of the OAS, and the Department of CITEL also agrees. We should consider also the financial impact of these methods in terms of their execution. In that context, the draft roadmap could be considered a basic or a springboard to enrich our conversations as we better define the adequate mechanisms for its implementation. Mexico believes that the exchange of best practices and the promotion of greater cooperation on a regional level are fundamental, as well as the recovery or the sharing of successful experiences on a regional level for integration. And this has improved our trade landscape, and this could further advance our objectives. We reaffirm our commitment to this effort to achieve greater equity in trade and sustainability in trade, especially bringing in MSMEs, and focusing always on the well-being of people and shared prosperity as well as social justice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I give the floor now to Costa Rica.
Thank you, Chair. Madam Executive Secretary, we'd like to first thank or express our appreciation for this roadmap. We think that it is valuable, and creating a coordinated document will have a positive impact in the region. However, we'd like to highlight a few items that we believe are essential for full participation from member states. Since this document is so complex and has such a technical scope, we would like to receive these documents ahead of time and in all 4 languages. And that is no small thing, because multilingual access doesn't just allow us to have our authorities, our competent authorities, examine in detail these documents, but it also gives us an opportunity to create better feedback. We'd like to highlight the importance of documents such as this, and we need to see more. Our delegations need more time to have a wide-ranging, detailed analysis so that we can have a true dialogue and exchange that is fruitful between member states, especially for a document that is regional and that focuses on such key priorities. So, Mr. Chair, very respectfully, we would request that this document in the next few months be provided with sufficient time for national authorities to evaluate them. I'd like to express our appreciation for your leadership, and we are committed to continue actively participating in the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I give the floor now to the United States.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The United States acknowledges and appreciates the Chair's focus on the theme of capacity building to improve trade in the Americas during this CD semester. Additionally, we appreciate the effort to convert the discussions that have taken place here into a roadmap that proposes actionable next steps. The meetings that have taken place during the semester at CD and the perspectives offered by subject matter experts and panelists proved especially useful in providing key input for the drafting of this document. In its current form, the United States believes this document is a useful and practical baseline for the eventual preparation of a viable roadmap. As it stands now, this document reflects valuable information that emerged from the conduct of this semester's meetings and includes important points provided by our esteemed colleagues. My delegation views this document as a starting point for continued discussions. We are thus requesting additional time to consult with Capitol and subsequently provide substantive feedback to ensure that we are able to join consensus in support of a final roadmap for CD's policy. We look forward to future opportunities for collaboration within CD to build on this draft and continue working towards the drafting of a final roadmap. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, and I give the floor now to the Ambassador of Uruguay.
Thank you, Chair. Uruguay has incorporated in this last quarter the work of the CD. We are appreciative of this draft roadmap, and it looks like we will be sitting in the chair's seat in the following period. So we'd like to repeat our commitment to this project. I think this is a great opportunity to talk with clarity about the structural relationship that exists between trade, productive development, and the institutional strengthening of the Americas. We'd like to congratulate the chair for the various topics broached, and the competitiveness of a country in the region as a whole cannot be sustained without skill and capacity frameworks that take into account people and companies. We are not defined by our customs, but rather by our people, our abilities. We can sign agreements and identify markets, but if businesses are not up to the snuff, or if the regulatory frameworks cause uncertainty, participating in international trade requires adequate capacity training, institutions, frameworks, digital infrastructure that is trustworthy to face uncertainty so that we can continue to see contributions throughout the region. And in that sense, the competitiveness of the region doesn't just depend on the exchange rate or our production volume, but also a simplifying of our frameworks and processes, certifications that are recognized, mutually recognized, and interoperable tools. And those countries that are relegated and cannot participate in the supply chain are not contributing to robust trade. And Uruguay is going through a period of strengthening these 5 points as identified by the chair during the current period. Uruguay has made steps forward on its plans: political and institutional stability, sustainable development, and a regulatory context that does not change abruptly, and governments, whatever side they're from, have continuity. These conditions don't guarantee investments in and of themselves, but they do eliminate uncertainty, which is the first filter that investors are also often looking for or analyzing when they decide to invest or not. And that is why we're appreciative of this roadmap, and for the same reasons that my fellow delegates have expressed, we hope to better analyze the document with more time with our capital, because we haven't had that opportunity due to the short time frame. And we'd like to have follow-up, and we will be in discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador, and I give the floor to Canada.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Le Canada.
Thank you, sir. Canada would like to thank the chair and Cindy for this roadmap and for organizing the discussions on the topic as to how the OAS can strengthen, build capacity in order to improve trade in the Americas. These discussions have been useful to see how can we take advantage of crucial opportunities and have a more consistent approach to allow the OAS to promote trade in our hemisphere. Trade continues to be a cornerstone in the Americas, and we see the potential feedback between the goals of the roadmap and other documents to stimulate inclusive growth and promote innovation in the region.
I'd like to underscore the importance of ensuring that the concrete activities and initiatives outlined in the roadmap focus on areas where the OAS has clear expertise and comparative advantages. Leveraging existing OAS programs, such as the various existing inter-American networks, working groups, and events focusing on capacity building and institutional strengthening, will maximize impact and avoid duplication of efforts. This approach will also ensure efficient use of resources and reinforce the credibility of the organization as a convener and implementer. We appreciate that you are giving additional time to review the roadmap so we can provide more substantive feedback. Canada stands ready to collaborate with member states and the city to advance these priorities and translate the roadmap into tangible results for our citizens. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Canada, and I give the floor to Guatemala.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, sir. Distinguished representatives and delegations. As this is the last session of CD in this year, Guatemala would like to acknowledge the vision and the leadership of the chair that moved substantive dialogues forward to help us look at the challenges and opportunities in trade and the importance of developing human capital as well as institutional capital to move forward in this area. We were able to receive valuable input to help our work in a more collaborative way. As a result of this semester's work, we would like to thank both the chair and the secretariat for the draft roadmap on capacity building in order to improve trade in the Americas that is being presented today officially. In analyzing this document, and given that the various delegations have spoken about it, my delegation feels it would help to deepen our analysis of some areas, such as looking at the relationship between CD and the technical and cooperative efforts of the different initiatives proposed. We think it's clear that we need to involve UNCITRAL, the Central American Institution for Ports, and others. We think it's important to look at the costs involved as well in order to assess these activities in that way. Also, details with regard to implementation, the timelines involved, and the follow-up mechanisms need to be considered. As to external partnerships, we think it's important to also include the Secretariat of the Central American Integration System and specialized agencies. Their initiatives might very much complement the other efforts undertaken. We'd like to highlight that this roadmap is proposing that we take advantage of and strengthen already existing programs such as the language program and CooperaNet, amongst others, in order to avoid duplication of efforts and maximize the impact. Distinguished delegates, Guatemala would continue studying this document in collaboration with the guidance provided and in order to look at how we can constructively use this roadmap. Thank you.
Thank you, and I give the floor now to the Bahamas.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to you and to colleagues. The delegation of the Bahamas wishes to commend you, Chair, and the Secretariat for the work done over the past 6 months that's resulted in a focused chairmanship which has produced a tangible and a valuable output that can guide the Secretariat's developmental work and ensure it is responsive to the real needs expressed by member states. The Bahamas believes that the draft roadmap for capacity building to improve trade in the Americas has captured the major gaps and constraints facing countries of the hemisphere and makes useful suggestions for how development cooperation can help address these needs. Notwithstanding, the Bahamas wishes to underscore 2 key cross-cutting challenges that are outlined in the roadmap that we believe will require intentional focus as we look to build trade capacity in the Americas. First, on human capital and the skills gap, given limited TVET capacity, insufficient dual education and apprenticeship models, and weak public-private academic coordination across many member states, particularly developing states. We also believe there needs to be an emphasis on training people with appropriate skills throughout the entire work cycle as they move into different roles and as the external environment requires new skills. Second, on data, evidence, and monitoring, given fragmented and underused data on skills, labor markets, MSMEs, logistics, and trade flows, which hinders evidence-based policy and monitoring of reforms in many of our countries. We believe that there is also a role for academia that might be more clearly addressed as it relates to data, evidence, and monitoring to provide research on the business environment, the performance of companies, upskilling, and technology adoption, among other things. Chair, we reiterate again our appreciation for the focus on building hemispheric trade capacity and the development of this roadmap. The Bahamas looks forward to collaborating with the Secretariat and member states on concretely advancing the roadmap as we look to build a more dynamic, integrated, and prosperous Americas together. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, and I give the floor now to Argentina.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. First, my delegation would like to congratulate you on your stewardship of our organization for this semester, and we support the proposals that allowed us to go more in depth into this topic, which is key for economic development and productive development in our countries, like many other delegations. My capital is consulting with the various authorities involved in this topic, and we therefore appreciate the fact that you extended the deadline for us to submit feedback and comments. 2 weeks will be helpful. We think it's a vital topic, and the document therefore needs to be sound enough so that we can work along with the Secretariat in order to look at these initiatives more carefully. And as other delegations have mentioned, we value the fact that tools were included that already exist, such as CorporateNet or the Language Cooperation Program, and we think we could add the LACE, the Exchange for Competitiveness in the Americas, and as the Guatemalan delegation mentioned, also add the possibility of working with other commissions, the Inter-American Commission on Ports, for example. These other commissions would have valuable contributions to make, and we think it would be worthwhile to discuss these ideas. And you can look forward to receiving our comments in the next 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. And I give the floor now to El Salvador.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, sir. We thank the chair for the work done in this second half of the year, and where priority was given to the dialogue on building capacity in order to improve trade in the hemisphere. Salvador is firmly committed to development with flexible, simple, and modern systems that would open the doors to greater competitiveness. This is why we recognize, sir, your dedication in order to obtain concrete results in this area. Specifically, we would like to express our appreciation for the proposal of a roadmap for building capacity in order to improve trade in the Americas. As a first step and relevant input, and to be innovative, to work in a coordinated and effective manner, and in order to avoid duplication of efforts, and strengthen the development pillar of this organization and drive trade in the region. We appreciate these efforts. In that regard, for the text to appropriately reflect the capacities and priorities of our member states in the area of trade, before it's adopted, we think it's vital that we take the time needed so that all the delegations can hold consultations with our authorities in the capital cities and also discuss with other delegations. And we think it's also important to have technical meetings with our capitals, and that we have tools available such as the Inter-American Entrepreneurship effort to strengthen the roadmap in this regard. And what we would suggest as the next step is putting a solidarity cooperation for solidarity policy forward, so that we can use that in the first half of 2026 in keeping with the normative procedures that were established by this council. We would reiterate our commitment to continue working to promote joint and creative efforts in order to contribute to strengthening the development of our region. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I give the floor now to the representative of Colombia.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to start by thanking you and congratulating you on your leadership and your hard work during this whole semester at the helm of this council. We think that these issues are very helpful and important in order to work towards improving trade in the Americas. With regard to what other member states have said, who spoke before me, Colombia, along the lines of what El Salvador just said, would like to propose that as a mechanism to achieve consensus for this document, this council might invite the body that looks at development and partnership and work with them, and the chair of this commission, so that we would have discussions with them, and then subsequent to that, we would then have a final draft of this roadmap for adoption in the first half of next year. Thank you.
Thank you. And I give the floor now to the Dominican Republic.
Gracias, señor.
Thank you, sir. The Dominican Republic would like to thank you for the presentation of the draft roadmap in order to build capacity to improve trade in the Americas. We acknowledge the efforts of the chair of CD and the efforts of the Secretariat in order to promote a technical and political dialogue that would be included in a comprehensive document that reflects the opportunities that we all share as a region. We specifically value the focus and formalization on MSMEs and the institutional promotion as well as promotion of digitalization as key instruments in order to promote more inclusive participation in trade. We believe that these elements are all key in order to make progress towards our more equitable and sustainable development. In that regard, we'd like to offer some preliminary observations. We believe they might strengthen the roadmap first. We suggest advancing towards clear criteria for prioritization. That would then allow identification those activities that might have the greatest impact and that are the most viable for member states to implement. And that would take into account the different technical capacities and development levels of different countries in the region. Secondly, I would like to highlight the importance of the document clearly reflecting the specific challenges for small economies and challenges for small island states in the Caribbean, specifically with regard to connectivity, logistics, services, and resilience given external vulnerabilities. Also, we think it's timely to strengthen the coordination with already existing platforms in the organization, such as COOPERNet and competitiveness initiatives in order to avoid duplication of efforts and to ensure efficient use of our resources. And finally, we would encourage the follow-up section include more specific measurable indicators that would make it possible to objectively measure progress and to have a more specific and precise definition of the role of the technical secretariat with regard to cooperation and promoting the efforts of the member states and its partnerships. We appreciate also building a hemispheric agenda that would promote inclusion, innovation, and sustainable development. We would express our availability to continue working actively and collaboratively towards adoption of this roadmap. Thank you.
Thank you, and I give the floor now to St. Kitts and Nevis.
Thank you, Chair. St. Kitts and Nevis would like to commend you and Secretary Osborne on your astute leadership as chair, for this semester. And we thank you for your hard work and guidance. After perusing the document, my delegation believes that this draft roadmap is a useful guide to assist us in achieving our goals of improving trade and the ease of doing business in the region. This is particularly important as it pertains to small, medium, and micro businesses that are most vulnerable and in need of assistance. However, this assistance must include vital training opportunities that lead to capacity building, greater accessibility, technological enhancements, and the leveling overall of the playing field to improve competitiveness and efficiency. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, and I thank you all for the feedback. Let me say this. The intention of the roadmap is not just to have some document approved. You know, it's a document for all of us, for all the member states, a document which should have some value, some practical value to be used. And therefore, I think it is really good if we maybe spend more time on it. I said 2 weeks, but we all know that Christmas is near, and maybe a lot of capitals will not work so hard anymore. But we should see this as a document which, you know, will have a Ref 1, Ref 2, Ref 3. We will try to improve it all the time. So I will talk with my successor, the ambassador of Uruguay, how we can do this, because it's also not the intention that we had a good semester and now it's gone. No, it should remain on the agenda, the roadmap, until it's really a document that everyone is satisfied with. And I think it's a document, the Secretariat is still here with us, chairs change, but the Secretariat is there to improve this document continually. And so maybe we should leave it as a document to be improved. So we will await and see what kind of feedback we get in the coming weeks. We'll make a new draft and put it out again. And whenever we get more input, we will add it to it until we really have a document with which is a very good document. So don't see it as an end product. We don't have to rush to make it a final product. We have time on our side in this respect, and the Secretariat will guard that the document will improve continually. So thank you all for your first feedback and input, and we will come back to that. We now turn to item 3 on our agenda, which is which concerns the CD sectoral ministerial process cycle in education. Delegations have before them the draft resolution titled Change of Dates for the 12th Inter-American Meeting of Ministers of Education, contained in document CD Doc 468/25, submitted by the delegation of Ecuador. The draft resolution reflects Ecuador's request to postpone the 12th ministerial meeting and its preparatory meeting, while reaffirming the country's continued commitment to hosting the event in Quito on the new proposed dates of July 21st and 22nd in 2026. I now open the floor for comments from delegations before we proceed to its adoption. I don't know if Ecuador wants to add something to this. Yes, you have the floor.
Gracias, presidente.
Thank you, sir. I'd just like to thank the delegations and thank you for your understanding to the delegations. These are issues that we had to take into account in Ecuador, so that's why we're asking for your understanding to be able to make this change in the dates. Obviously, this is in order to be able to have better preparation for Ecuador so we can host you properly in our country. So once again, we hope this hasn't caused any problems, but we also would like to thank you for all of the delegations for your understanding. Thank you.
Thank you. And if there are no other comments, I think we can adopt this resolution. Adopted. Thank you. So we now go to the item 4, which is a special item, special recognition of the Executive Secretary for Integral Development, Ms. Kim Osborne. Today we extend our heartfelt recognition to Ms. Kim Osborne for her exemplary service, leadership, and unwavering dedication to advancing integral development throughout our hemisphere. Throughout her tenure, the Executive Secretary has consistently demonstrated vision, integrity, and an unshakable commitment to strengthening the institutional capacity of the OAS and delivering tangible results for our member states. Under her guidance, SEIDI has deepened cooperation across sectors, built strategic partnerships, and expanded opportunities for innovation, competitiveness, and inclusive growth. Her thoughtful leadership and in-depth understanding of the development priorities of the hemisphere has been instrumental in steering this Council's work, from the modernization of ministerial process to the development of cooperation platforms, to the preparation of the roadmap that we are considering today. She has championed small economies, elevated the needs of vulnerable populations, and fostered collaboration that transcends geography and size. Executive Secretary Osborne, on behalf of CD, we offer our sincere appreciation for your dedication, your professionalism, and your enduring contributions to the development agenda of the Americas. Your leadership has been a cornerstone of this Council's progress, and I personally wish to thank you for your guidance and everything that you have given to support the different chairs throughout not only my tenure, but the tenure of other chairs as well. And of course, I open the floor for others who wish to comment on this item. And I recognize the Ambassador of the Bahamas.
Good morning, all. It is certainly my honor to take the floor on behalf of the government and peoples of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to extend our sincere appreciation to Executive Secretary Kim Osborne as she concludes her distinguished tenure, yet not her career here in the Organization of American States. Colleagues, Executive Secretary Osborne entered this role with more than 2 decades of deep institutional experience, serving in multiple leadership capacities across the OAS system. She brought technical mastery, operational competence, proven managerial effectiveness, and an unmatched understanding of the development architecture of this organization. Quite frankly, and as the biblical story of Queen Esther would remind us, her professional journey prepared her for such a time as this, and what a time it is. Under her leadership, SETI was not simply managed, it was modernized and strengthened. She brought coherence through the One SETI approach, dismantled siloed working patterns, and mobilized the full breadth of the Secretariat's technical expertise. She expanded and professionalized partnerships, elevated SETI's visibility, and mobilizing and leveraging new external resources to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. I will say it again, hundreds of millions of dollars, distinctively and decisively demonstrating that even an historically an under-resourced pillar can deliver impact at scale when guided by a clear vision and a disciplined execution. Her tenure realized tangible advances: the expansion of the OAS Partnership Scholarships, the launch of the Youth Academy for Transformative Technologies, continued success of the Small Business Development Centers, strengthened ministerial processes, progress in sustainable development programming, and the establishment of CorporateNet, and a consistent prioritization of results over rhetoric. Assuredly, as is the case for all of member states, for the Bahamas, Executive Secretary Osborne has been a steadfast ally, supporting Bahamian leadership in ministerial processes, advancing our chairmanship of the CD Policies Committee, and most notably, mobilizing immediate technical and financial support in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian. Those responses reflected not only competence, but compassion and commitment, and the Bahamas will never forget it. Chair and Executive Secretary Osborne, with your kind indulgence, please allow me to raise 2 brief but important reflections arising from Executive Secretary's tenure. First, Executive Secretary Osborne's service revealed that she often carried multiple executive responsibilities simultaneously, functioning not only as the Executive Secretary for SETI, but at various long-term moments also stepping as Director of Sustainable Development, economic development, human development, and effectively performing the functions aligned with the Director General of the Inter-American Agency for Cooperation and Development, IACD. This reality subtly underscores a structural gap that the member states may wish to consider. The IACD, our hemispheric instrument for development cooperation, now carries mandates far too expansive, far too technical and politically sensitive to be fully subsumed within the Executive Secretary's already broad portfolio. Modernizing the Development Cooperation Fund, mobilizing resources across development financial institutions and private sector partners, coordinating South-South and triangular cooperation, and meeting extensive reporting obligations all require specialized and dedicated executive leadership. According and somewhat prescriptively, the Bahamas respectfully proposes that it may be timely for member states to reflect and carefully and objectively consider on whether the current configuration of the IACD fully aligns with the ambitions we have collectively assigned to it. Executive Secretary Osborne's performance has demonstrated both the necessity and the feasibility of strengthened leadership in this space, while highlighting the natural limitations imposed by the existing structure. This proposal is offered merely as a forward-looking reflection that we should act on. Secondly, Chair, with Executive Secretary Osborne concluding her tenure on 31st of December 2025, within a few days, member states will soon confront a matter of legal and institutional significance. Article 117 of the Charter is unequivocal. That is, the Secretary General shall appoint, with the approval of this body, an Executive Secretary for Integral Development. For the Bahamas and for many like-minded delegations, this is not simply a ceremonial provision. It is the one senior trust appointment within this pillar that expressly requires the deliberate approval of member states. Accordingly, the process must be rigorous, strategically grounded, and reflective of the geographic and political balance that defines the organization and this council. The Bahamas also recalls the organization's long-standing yet increasingly fragile commitment to equitable geographic representation at senior levels. We reaffirm that the Caribbean is not a peripheral participant in development cooperation. It is a region whose structural vulnerabilities lies at the heart of the work that CD does and of CD's mandate. Therefore, the individual appointed to this position must obviously have knowledge of the organization and all member states, but would bear well that they must not simply know the Caribbean from a conceptual distance. They must understand its complexities, speak credibly for its realities, and reflect the geographic balance expressly affirmed by member states. And it is important, but that we be factual. With Ms. Osborne's departure from the post, she remains the only non-trust Caribbean national at P5 level or above in the entire General Secretariat. This is alarming. Caribbean leadership at the senior staff technical levels has become, quite frankly, an increasingly rare, non-existent species. This is not a rhetoric, it is a structural imbalance that must inform our deliberations. As delegations reflect on the broader considerations, leadership, structure, representation, and stewardship, it may be useful to recall that Article 117 exists precisely for these moments. It is a reminder that the development pillar demands executive leadership aligned with both institutional mandates and member state expectations. And finally, colleagues, Executive Secretary's tenure demonstrates what principled, experienced, technically competent leadership can achieve in this organization. Her legacy is profound and lasting. She strengthened a pillar that is essential to our development partnership and to the credibility of the OAS itself. On behalf of the government and people of the Bahamas, we express our profound gratitude, admiration, and pride for our Caribbean sister. As you embark on your next chapter, Kim, know that you leave behind not only a legacy of excellence, but the expectation, indeed, the standard for those who will follow. The Bahamas extends its best wishes for your continued success. And Chair, please note that these remarks will be circulated to the committee for proper reference and to make sure that I am not misquoted. Thank you and this committee for its kind attention.
Thank you, Ambassador, and I give the floor to the Ambassador of Brazil.
Thank you, sir. Brazil is honored to be able to add to the tribute paid to the executive, our dear Kim Osborne. All the tributes would not be enough to express our gratitude for what she has done and continues to do for the Americas as the Executive Secretary. Over the last 9 years, the announcement that Secretary Osman would be leaving early is going to leave a void which will be very difficult to fill, both in terms of her role in the Secretariat, but also with what she brought to the table. She had an impressive presence and was a friend to all of us here. Sir, at the helm of the Technical Secretariat, she showed professionalism and was exemplary in her role modeling, meeting challenges. Her management is marked by untiring work and stands out for that, good use of resources, and her comprehensive support of the Americas in the role that she played. Not only did she provide technical skills recognized by all, and she had even more than was needed, but also her passion for what she was doing and her immense capacity to have ideas and concrete results. She had a positive impact on the lives of people throughout the region. Brazil had the privilege of working closely with her, with Secretary Osborne, in different areas. We could highlight amongst many areas several initiatives that marked our work with her, and we'd like to highlight 3 and congratulate her on the technical program for the Caribbean of last year, a program that promotes and stimulates young Caribbeans to work and study in Brazil and then go back as engineers and nurses, agronomists, doctors, amongst other professions they study in Brazil. We also worked with her and have shared testimonies of the first-rate work. We cannot be emotional or thankful enough in thanking her for the opportunities that she provided, that provided opportunities for people and communities to change their lives. We'd also like to recognize the OAS Excellence Center and its efforts in Sao Paulo. This pioneer initiative, which was led by Secretary Osborne, helped the OAS work with Brazil to promote stabilities and innovation, benefiting the entire region. Finally, I'd like to highlight the America's Competitiveness Exchange Program in Belém, in Brazil, in August of this year. She was very important in working towards promoting governance in this program, to bring the program to the Amazon region, to promote technology and sustainability. Beyond that, there was an opportunity for cooperation and business over the long term, which she promoted. Finally, on a personal note, my first year that I was here as a permanent representative, I had the honor and the happiness of working with Secretary, going to Brazil with her. Not only did she accompany me on that, I was impressed by her skills and her energy and her interactions with people at all levels, from the authorities to other people that she interacted with in informal situations. I just have to say that Secretary Osborne is, for us, an honorary Brazilian. And her visit to the state of Bahia made her a Bahian, an honorary Bahian. And we know that that relationship with Brazil was marked not just by the hemispheric ideals, but also by the initiative, and bore fruit. And we trust that in her future endeavors, Secretary Osborne will continue working with Brazil in development and cooperation for the benefit, concretely, for our citizens and to benefit everyone in the region. We wish her every success in her new challenges, and we are sure that she will continue being an inspiration and a benchmark for all of us. I do not want to say goodbye, but until we see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. And I give the floor to the Ambassador of Mexico.
Thank you, Chair. Mexico recognizes the distinguished work of Executive Secretary Kim Osborne, who, with her great leadership, commitment, and professionalism, has dedicated herself tirelessly to accomplishing the missions of member states at the OAS, strengthening economic development, social development that are both integral and sustainable in the Americas, as well as alliances with other bodies, public and private sector partners. She's done so much with few resources. Secretary Osborne has, in addition, been a warm functionary who is close to member states, listening to their needs, and who promoted efficiency and concrete results on topics and processes related to integral development and cooperation. Member states have been witness to her high level of efficiency, her proactive work, and her making more efficient processes within the organization and fulfilling mandates handed down to her secretariat. All of this done with transparency and accountability. As an exceptional staff member committed to multilateralism and the women's agenda, she has promoted solidarity, cooperation, sustainable development that are fair, and she has shown true leadership in training women at high positions and the need that the OAS has to have more such positions. Also highlighted often were her generosity, which shows us that leadership is done with empathy and an understanding that collective achievements are built through collaboration and shared responsibility, but above all, led by example. On behalf of Mexico, Mr. Chair, we express our sincere recognition and particular gratitude to Secretary Osborne for all of these years of stewardship and vocation on behalf of the people of the Americas. It is a privilege that the OAS has women that are so distinguished, such as her, on its team, and the person who fills her shoes in this effort will have a lot of work, very big shoes to fill, and will hopefully be inspired to continue her work, her legacy, her efficiency, her leadership, and her solid experience. Please, Madam Secretary, receive our most sincere recognition and admiration for work that did great honor to this organization. You do great honor to your country, Dominica, and all of us. We wish you all the best. Thank you, dear Secretary Osborne, for being such an inspiration and a compass north. We so appreciate the work that you have done on this body. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador, and I give the floor to the delegation of Suriname.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The delegation of Suriname is honored to join member states in paying special tribute to Ms. Kim Osborne as she concludes her service as Executive Secretary for the Inter-American Council of Integral Development, CIDI. Ms. Osborne has served our hemisphere with remarkable dedication and vision. Under her leadership, the OAS development pillar became more responsive, more inclusive, and more impactful. By strengthening support for MSMEs and advancing innovative tourism and small business initiatives, thousands of small entrepreneurs gained access to better tools, training, and markets. Her work in institutionalizing sustainable tourism practices has improved the resilience of small tourism enterprises, a vital sector for many of our economies. Executive Secretary Osborne further deepened inter-American cooperation by forging strategic partnerships with regional and international institutions and promoting South-South cooperation. Equally important, her leadership strengthened the critical link between education and economic development, encouraging member states to adopt policies that help prepare young people for meaningful participation in a rapidly changing global economy. Throughout her tenure, she consistently elevated inclusive development, earning recognition within the organization for her exceptional performance and high standards of service. Beyond these achievements, what Suriname values most is the spirit she brought to this work, a spirit of genuine partnership, of listening, of ensuring that even the smallest and most vulnerable states felt seen, supported, and included. Her warmth, professionalism, and steady guidance have elevated this council and inspired us all. Her legacy will remain strong within CD and across the OAS community. Thank you for your service. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And I give the floor to the delegation of Ecuador.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Ecuador wishes to echo the expressions of other delegations in recognizing the management by Secretary Osborne at the head of SEDI during these years. She has moved forward very important initiatives for the region in harmony with what others have said. We'd like to highlight that during her tenure, she promoted initiatives that strengthened our multilateral communication, active participation, and strengthening of regional dialogue. These efforts, with included programs and projects in key areas such as education, culture, innovation, competitiveness, small and medium-sized businesses, climate adaptation, technical assistance, and others, were a reflection of her leadership and the clarity in which that demands this organization. As we close this cycle, we'd like to recognize the work achieved and express our gratitude for her commitment to strengthening institutions, all the while seeking concrete results. She contributed significantly to moving forward our priorities. Our diplomacy is in favor of dialogue, cooperation, and common approaches to shared challenges in an increasingly interconnected world. And it is thus that we will build a solidary future. We recognize your solid profile in integral development and international cooperation. Throughout your career, she championed smaller communities, strategic planning, and cultural sensitivity, and we do not doubt that she will continue to contribute with that same vision in her future professional endeavors. We wish her all the best, and we thank her.
Thank you, and I give the floor to the delegation of Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you, Chair. The delegation of Trinidad and Tobago is honored to join colleagues in recognizing Ms. Kim Osborne upon the completion of her distinguished tenure as Executive Secretary for Integral Development. Ms. Osborne's leadership at the Executive Secretariat for Integral Development has been marked by clarity of purpose and inclusivity of process. She consistently championed practical, demand-driven cooperation that reflects the priorities of our member states and this gives real meaning to the development pillar of the OAS. Guided by the principles of the OAS Charter and the mandate of CD, she has been a robust partner in catalyzing initiatives that advance human capital development, strengthening the enabling environment for micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, promoting innovation and digital transformation, and reinforcing resilience to disasters and climate-related shocks, areas of particular importance to small and vulnerable economies in our Caribbean community. We also recognize Ms. Osborne's commitment to leadership, to partnership within the Inter-American system, with sub-regional organizations and with private sector and civil society to leverage resources, avoid duplication, and accelerate impact. Her collegial engagement with delegations, clear communication, and emphasis on measurable outcomes have made her a respected and reliable counterpart for all member states. On behalf of the government and people of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, we convey our profound appreciation to Ms. Kim Osborne for her exemplary service, professionalism, and dedication to development aspirations of our hemisphere. We wish her continued success in her future endeavors and look forward to building on the foundation that she has helped to strengthen at the OAS. Thank you.
Thank you, and I give the floor to the representative of Barbados.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Barbados delegation take this moment to express the deep pride it feels for a daughter of a Caribbean soil, whose work has improved development initiatives across this hemisphere. You stand in that distinguished line of Caribbean leaders who have carried our hemisphere through intellect, courage, and unwavering moral purpose. Throughout a mandate marked by profound tensions in the Americas, you have held fast to a simple truth: development must serve all, and human dignity is the first responsibility of any society. Your portfolio has been extensive. You did not retreat from complexity, you met it with resolve, the true mark of a global public servant. The Caribbean claims you proudly, not only because you're Dominican, but because your example reflects who we aspire to be: principled, outward-looking, steadfast, and committed to lifting others as we rise. You have reminded this hemisphere that the influence of small states is not defined by size, but by the strength of our conviction and the courage with which we defend them. For this, we salute you. For this, we are profoundly proud of you. May God continue to bless you, and may your journey inspire others to work boldly in the world, knowing that integrity, excellence, and service remain among the most powerful tools any of us possess to help shape the destiny of nations. I thank you.
Thank you, Barbados, for those words. And I give the floor to your neighbor from Belize.
Chair, to echo the sentiments of other member states, the Permanent Mission of Belize extends its sincere appreciation to Ms. Kim Osborne, Executive Secretary for Integral Development, as she concludes her distinguished tenure in this post. Throughout her years of service, Ms. Osborne has demonstrated steadfast leadership, a deep commitment to advancing inclusive development, and an unwavering dedication to the principles that guide the inter-American community. Her vision and collaborative spirit have strengthened the work for the OAS in tangible and lasting ways. Belize is particularly grateful for her openness to partnership, her responsiveness to the needs of member states, and her tireless efforts to deliver impactful programs that expand opportunities across the hemisphere. As Ms. Osborne transitions into her next chapter of her distinguished career, the Permanent Mission of Belize extends its warmest best wishes, profound gratitude for her exemplary service to CARICOM and for the meaningful contributions she has made to advancing integral development across the Americas. Thank you.
Thank you, and we now get a contribution from Honduras.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'd like to first congratulate you for your stewardship that is coming to a close at the head of CD. Second, I'd like to join the congratulations of our colleague, Kim Osborne. I've had the privilege of collaborating with Kim from different perspectives. One is this, as representative of a member state, and the other has been as part of her team through SETI. And as a member state, I can only echo the long list of expressed achievements made by other countries. And frankly, we could be here quite some more time talking about her other achievements that have not been mentioned yet. And that in a context or a long period of leadership from her at SETI, leadership that will not just be missed at SETI, but which goes beyond SETI, because I remember her leadership within the Staff Association as well. Kim, you were always concerned and had as a high priority integral development for countries, developing countries, and with that mission and priority, Honduras was always on the receiving end of the success that your long career brought about at SETI. And that's why Honduras will always be grateful to you for your term, your leadership at the helm of the Secretariat. On a personal note, I want to thank you, Kim, because as being part of your team, I was able to see and witness the leadership firsthand. And it hasn't always been easy because you've been here for quite some time, where there have been wonderful moments, but also more complicated times where we had budget cuts, program reductions. These are not easy to broach, but you did so with wonderful leadership and human warmth. You were present with each of the team members, and we saw that during your entire time at SETI. I wanted to go beyond mentioning the brilliant professionalism of your career, the achievements that have already been mentioned, but for development in the Americas, but to say that you went beyond and set an extraordinary human standard in your leadership. So thank you, Kim. We wish you every success. I am sure that you will have every success, because no matter where you go, you will hold yourself to the same high standard that we saw here at the organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honduras, and I give the floor to St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Good morning, Chair, Excellencies, alternate representatives. I begin by conveying the apologies of Ambassador Gilchrist, who wanted to be here to deliver this recognition personally to an exemplary employee. On Ambassador's behalf, it is my distinct honor today to recognize the outstanding service and visionary leadership of Kim Osborne, Executive Secretary of the Executive Secretariat for Integral Development at the Organization of American States. Mrs. Kim Osborne has dedicated herself to advancing the socio-economic development of the Latin American and Caribbean region. Her journey within the OAS has been marked by innovation, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to inclusive growth. As Executive Secretary, she has led the development pillar, one of the 4 pillars of our organization, championing programs in education, innovation, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, and climate adaptation, all areas of primacy to the region. Her leadership has been instrumental in pioneering the OAS Small Tourism Enterprise Program, an internationally recognized best practice that has empowered countless small and medium enterprises to achieve competitiveness and profitability. She is also co-author of the Business Management and Operations Manual for Small Hotels and has spearheaded capacity building initiatives that have left a lasting mark on the region. Mrs. Osborne's ability to navigate complex political landscapes to deliver tangible results is a testament to her skill and dedication. As head of the Technical Cooperation Section, she restructured the OAS Development Cooperation Fund and promoted an alliance model that maximizes multi-stakeholder partnerships for development. Her efforts have secured numerous partnership agreements with international and regional organizations, amplifying the reach and impact of the OAS. Beyond her professional achievements, Kim Osborne is known for her collaborative spirit, her commitment to empowering others, and her belief in the transformative power of cooperation. She is a 3-time recipient of the OAS Outstanding Performance Award. and has served as president of the Staff Association, where she championed initiatives to improve work-life balance and staff well-being. Today, as we recognize Kim Osborne, we celebrate not only her remarkable accomplishments, but also the values she embodies: integrity, inclusivity, and a steadfast dedication to the betterment of our hemisphere. Her legacy is one of progress, partnership, and hope for a more just and prosperous future for all. On behalf of the Permanent Mission of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I extend our deepest gratitude and admiration. Thank you, Mrs. Osborne, for your exemplary service and for inspiring us all to strive for excellence. Thank you.
Thank you. And I give the floor now to Costa Rica.
Muchas gracias, señor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to use this time briefly to reiterate the thanks of Costa Rica and our sincere recognition of Secretary Osborne for her distinguished work at the head of SETI. Her leadership and strategic vision were always committed to the values of the organization, and they've contributed to integral development in our hemisphere. Her management, or Secretary Osborne, pushed forward increased access to tools, and her management hasn't just left a positive mark on the organization, but also in our communities and in our governments. And very briefly, Costa Rica would also like to thank her professionalism, her commitment, and her human warmth. We wish her every success in her future projects and responsibilities. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, and I give the floor to the Ambassador of Uruguay.
Gracias, señor.
Thank you, sir. Uruguay would like to add its voice in recognizing and appreciated Secretary Osborne as a great secretary. As has been said, you really set the bar very high for anyone who follows in your footsteps in the future. In your mandate, you have dealt with some of the most topical and important issues for sustainable development and helped the OAS work with other actors to make it possible to promote comprehensive development and a very important vision for Uruguay, which is equitable development and leaving no one behind. As I've said on other occasions, Uruguay has a number of development indicators, but we do not believe that each country is on its own. We have regional challenges, and organizations such as this one should focus on that. We hope that with your accumulated knowledge, you'll be able to continue to contribute to the organization's efforts, and we wish you every success in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, and I give the floor to the representative of Dominican Republic.
Gracias, señor.
Thank you, sir. The delegation of the Dominican Republic would like to express its most sincere appreciation to Kim Osborne, her characteristic friendliness and affability, was always willing and available to collaborate and contribute to all states. We recognize her professionalism, leadership, and commitment demonstrated throughout her term as Executive Secretary. Her dedication to promote initiatives that would promote sustainable development, equity, and various opportunities in our region have left a significant and lasting mark on our region. Her path of almost 2 decades, dedicated to promoting socioeconomic development of Latin America and the Caribbean, is reflected in specific and lasting contributions to the organization and to its member states. Her leadership was distinguished by promoting pioneer initiatives for small and medium-sized businesses, including the well-recognized program for small tourist companies, and promoting the empowerment at the community level for community solidarity and the promotion of strategic partnerships for development. We would also highlight the role she played in modernizing development schemes in the OAS and her efforts to mobilize resources and partnerships at both the regional and international levels. We very much value her capacity for dialogue, her strategic vision, and her constant efforts on behalf of member states. During this stage, we would reiterate our gratitude to her for her work, and we wish her every success in her new responsibilities that she will continue to shoulder within the organization. Thank you.
Thank you, and I give the floor now to Canada.
Merci, Monsieur le
Thank you, sir. On behalf of Canada, we would like to join other delegations to express our sincere recognition to Kim Osborne for her exceptional service as the Executive Secretary. Her term was marked by untiring efforts for inclusive and lasting development throughout the Americas.
Her leadership, CD has strengthened cooperation in critical areas such as education, resilience, and innovation, while also promoting inclusive trade and economic integration as engines of growth and opportunity for all member states. We particularly recognize our ability to bring together diverse voices and create spaces for dialogue and innovation. We extend our heartfelt thanks for our vision, professionalism, and dedication. Her contributions has left a lasting impact on the OAS and on the people of the hemisphere. We wish you every success in your new chapter, and we look forward to keeping working with you in your new role. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you.
Thank you, Canada, and I give the floor to the delegation of Paraguay.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, sir. The delegation of Paraguay would like to add its voice in recognizing Secretary Kim Osborne and share what was said by delegations that preceded her dedicated professionalism, commitment, her willingness, and her contributions to integrated development throughout the region. We would deeply express our gratitude to Secretary Osborne for her courtesy and professionalism and her kindness towards our country. We wish her every success in her new professional responsibilities in the organization, the same as she has shown at the helm of our technical secretariat, and we sure are convinced she will do the same in her future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, and I give the floor now to Guatemala.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. Guatemala would like to add its voice to congratulate Secretary Kim Osborne for her work in stewarding the Secretariat for more than a decade. We appreciate her contributions to this essential pillar of our organization. Specifically, we appreciate her support to my country and especially recognize her work and advising during Guatemala's chairmanship of CIDE. Her support was key for promoting issues that are of issue for economic development and food and nutritional security, and her constant accompaniment during the ministerial level meetings of this council, during which council had the honor of hosting. We would also appreciate her support for various projects to benefit my country, especially for the economic empowerment of women entrepreneurs, building capacity, risk management of natural disasters, and cooperation geared to improving opportunities for our communities. Her vision and capacity to build partnerships within the inter-American region has been for the benefit of all member states. We recognize her dedication and commitment, and we wish her every success in this new stage of her life. We are sure she will leave a positive mark in the area of her new responsibilities. Thank you.
Thank you, and I give the floor now to Chile.
Gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The delegation of Chile would like to add its voice to others' delegations' appreciation for Secretary Osborne for her many years of service to integrated development. I think everything has been said. However, I'd just like to highlight a couple of aspects that are more personal, perhaps, that I have noticed in my stay here. Since I arrived at the organization, I was able to see the cross-cutting approach of Secretary Osborne and my appreciation for your work, Secretary. I was also struck by the empowerment, the management, and the knowledge of the various topics that were or are in your area of responsibility. Also, your leadership of your team was very relevant. You always led with a smile, with kindness and openness towards all. This human warmth very much empowers you and is not always to be found. I'll be brief with a view to the time, but I'm going to say you will be very much missed here in this place, and we wish you every success in your future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I recognize the representative of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Thank you, Chair. Esteemed ambassadors, alternates, all. It is with a mixture of gratitude and wistfulness that St. Kitts and Nevis joins the other delegations in saying farewell to a true champion of integral development, Ms. Kim Osborne, Executive Secretary of SETI. For almost 2 decades, Secretary Osborne has dedicated her passion, expertise, and boundless energy to the socio-economic development of the Latin American and Caribbean region. Her tenure here at the Organization of American States has been defined by visionary leadership and a deep commitment to making a tangible difference in the lives of the people we serve. Secretary Osborne's achievements are numerous and far-reaching. As the head of SETI and concurrently the Director General of the Inter-American Agency for Cooperation and Development, she spearheaded the OAS development pillar, focusing on building resilience and competitiveness across the Americas. Chair, my delegation especially acknowledges some of her pivotal roles, such as pioneering small tourism enterprise programs, thereby helping to establish internationally recognized best practices that helped countries' small and medium enterprises achieve profitability and global competitiveness. Driving innovation by implementing critical programs in education, innovation, and climate adaptation, essential for sustainability and growth in the hemisphere. Fostering partnership by championing an alliance model for development and successfully negotiating and establishing key partnerships with international and regional organizations, thereby maximizing cooperation in all of its modalities. Chair, St. Kitts and Nevis is proud to recognize Secretary Osborne as a daughter of Dominica, a CARICOM state, and to celebrate the way in which she brought this unique, vital perspective to the OAS. Ms. Osborne truly understands the challenges facing our member states, and her work, from her early role as an OAS country representative to Belize, to coordinating over 12 high-level ministerial meetings, has consistently reflected a conviction in dignified and productive work for all. Kim, as you embark on your next chapter, please know that your dedication has left an indelible mark on this institution and on the hemisphere in general. You have inspired us with your strength, grace, unwavering belief in the transformative power of integral development. We thank you for your service, your leadership, and your friendship, and wish you every success and happiness, Kim, in your future endeavors. Executive Director, Ms. Kim Osborne, we thank you.
Thank you, and I give the floor now to delegation of Peru.
Muchas gracias, señor.
Thank you, sir. I want to speak from the heart here, and not just about Kim's heart. I was a little confused by the agenda when it said recognition. Actually, I wasn't quite sure what it was referring to, and then it led me to think that maybe what we should have done was recognize all the years of her work. It's been more than 10 years that you've been leading the executive secretary and running it. I didn't realize that we were saying farewell, actually. But since we are saying farewell, let me start by thanking you for everything that you have done for the member states. You are an example of an empowered woman, and it's impossible not to equate Kim Osborne with development in the Americas, and everyone has said it. Everyone has pointed to your achievements, and I realize that we wouldn't have time, so I won't dare to list all of your accomplishments, but I just want to say, and I'm sure you've heard this from all of us, the sincere gratitude, but just know that in addition to our gratitude, you can count on us in your future functions, and I'm sure you will be most successful in them. Thank you very much, Kim. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and I recognize a special ambassador of Dominica, a country that is well known to Ms. Osborne.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, colleagues, heads of mission, alternates, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to have this opportunity to express the gratitude of Dominica, our Prime Minister, Honorable Roosevelt Scarrett, our Foreign Minister, Honorable Dr. Vince Henderson, the permanent mission of the Commonwealth of Dominica to the OAS, the people and government of Dominica, to Mrs. Kim Osborne, a true daughter of Dominica, for her tireless and outstanding contribution to the OAS and to the peoples of the hemisphere in advancing integral development. I want to first and wholeheartedly endorse fully the statement, remarks, and the sentiments of the delegation of Bahamas for giving a holistic but technically sound vision and profile of Kim. I look forward to its circulation as a reminder to us of how we should proceed with the OAS development agenda. I will not go over the many technical type comments made about Kim this morning, but will use a few moments on Kim the person. One wise man wrote that work is love made visible. Although he has long passed, I think he personally knew Kim. Kim has served, worked, and worked with love, honor, and care for the peoples of the region. She has demonstrated that geography and size do not restrict wisdom and leadership. She is a fully empowered Caribbean woman. As a person and leader, she remains a model of service, success, and hard work. Under her leadership, SIDI and SEDI brought to us hope. Many times when one would wonder what is the use, benefit, purpose, or value of the OAS, SIDI, with its development focus and a very timely and appropriate agenda, would answer most loudly that the OAS is still relevant. Every member state can and has vouched today for the same level of passion, impartiality, and innovation that she brought to every project, regardless of the geographic location. Her wisdom has always brought with it a certain calm, peace, and hope that continuously convinced us that success is possible. Kim has been reiterated here this morning. Member states are proud of you. Dominica is proud of you. We can never say farewell, for you are always with us and remain with us and belong to us. Thank you for your commitment and service. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ambassador. And I give the floor to the representative of the United States of America.
Thank you, Chair. The timing of this agenda item is particularly fitting. Alongside recognizing Executive Secretary for Integral Development, Kim Osborne, this Council's final meeting of 2025 provides a fitting opportunity to reflect on the work we have accomplished together with Secretary Osborne, not just in 2025, but in the past few years under her leadership. The achievements and progress made in the OAS's development pillar is closely interconnected with Secretary Osborne's role at the helm of the Executive Secretariat for Integral Development, SETI. The OAS provides an essential platform for member states to work together on the complex challenges facing our region. Within that framework, SETI has served as a space for meaningful dialogue on economic, social, and institutional development. Turning these conversations into practical steps forward depends greatly on the steady leadership and thoughtful guidance of the Executive Secretariat. One of the most valuable and often underappreciated qualities in leadership is the ability to bring the right people together at the right moment. It requires sound judgment, a clear understanding of the issues, and an appreciation of the range of perspectives that strengthen our work. When done well, it not only improves the decisions we make, but also deepens the collaboration and shared purpose. Today, we acknowledge Executive Secretary Osborne for consistently demonstrating these qualities. Her ability to convene, listen, to help channel discussion into action has supported the progress we have made together over the years. We are grateful for her contributions and for the spirit of cooperation she has helped foster among the member states and within her secretariat. We have seen Executive Secretary Osborne turn talk into actions with programs like the Inter-American Teacher Education Network, which became the largest teacher education program in our region, providing fast-paced, efficient, and effective teacher professional development. For example, in a 4-year period, the network trained over 230,000 teachers. Executive Secretary Osborne's consistent support and effective leadership enabled this initiative to have a lasting, positive, and multiplying impact on our region. Programs like the Small Business Development Centers helped create a network in the Caribbean and assisted Brazil with the adaptation of the model, expanding access to business assistance and helping micro, small, and medium enterprises formalize, scale, and contribute to local economic growth. Executive Secretary Osborne's support of this U.S. finance program contributed to economic growth and job creation in the region. The America's competitive exchange continues to be the premier economic development, innovation, and entrepreneurial network of the Americas, thanks in great part to Executive Secretary Osborne's vision and support. We have seen the network grow with each edition, and this OAS flagship program continues to provide tangible economic development results for the region. We recognize the work Secretary Osborne has done in SETI, not just through the projects initiatives financed by the United States, but through all the work that the development pillar has carried out under her leadership to bring resilience to our hemisphere. We recognize Executive Secretary Osborne's dedication to advancing prosperity and well-being for the people of the Americas. Throughout her tenure, she worked tirelessly to help deliver meaningful initiatives across the region. Her steadfast commitment to the development pillar has strengthened our collective efforts, and her contributions have been instrumental in guiding us through complex challenges to achieve tangible and impactful results. As she steps down from her role, we extend our sincere appreciation for her service and for the lasting contributions she has made to SETI and to the broader missions of the OAS. We wish her every success in the next chapter and remain grateful for the partnership we have shared. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, and I give the floor now to El Salvador.
Thank you, Presidente. Entiendo que
I understand that Santa Lucia was supposed to go before me? No? Okay. If not, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since I'm one of the last to be taking the floor, I'm aware that most everything has been said about Secretary Kim Osborne, but my delegation would like to add its voice to honor the work of Secretary Osborne. Her work was untiring, and her leadership at the helm of our Secretariat was key for development of our work in this organization. We'd like to commend her for professionalism, her commitment, and her human qualities, which were always seen in her work with this council, and most especially, I'd like to express our deep-seated gratitude for the help she provided during the visit of the Vice President of El Salvador and the visit from the Inter-American Body for Development. And we very much appreciate the support that she provided during these special missions to our delegation, to our ambassador, Ambassador Vasquez and Ambassador Acevedo, who expressed their warmth and admiration to you on behalf of them and our whole delegation. And we know that you will continue to contribute in other spaces of the organization to strengthen our hemisphere. We wish you every success in your new professional and family endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, St. Lucia.
Thank you, Chair. It is such a pleasure that I was able to join before the end of this topic. But my delegation begins by expressing the regrets of Ambassador Elizabeth Darius-Clark, who is unable to join us for this important session. St. Lucia is honored to add its voice of deep appreciation for Executive Secretary Kim Osborne. It is not often that a small state finds within a large multilateral organization a champion who listens with patience, responds with clarity, and acts with purpose. Kim has been that rare and steady partner to St. Lucia, and if I may say so with absolute confidence, to all member states of this organization. For many years, St. Lucia has approached the Executive Secretary of Integral Development with needs that are real and at times urgent. In every instance, Kim has welcomed our concerns with respect and seriousness. She has never once told us that our aspirations were beyond reach, that funds were unavailable, or that donors had no interest in supporting our development priorities. Instead, she consistently searched for possibilities, uncovered partners, and created pathways that allowed St. Lucia to advance in areas that matter profoundly to our people. Kim's leadership has expanded the meaning of integral development for small states. She has shown that development cooperation is an expression of genuine solidarity. Under her guidance, St. Lucia has benefited from programs that have strengthened community resilience, uplifted vulnerable groups, empowered youth and women, assisted micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, and expanded opportunity in many other areas of need. Her commitment has helped us build projects and, importantly, engendered a feeling of confidence in the value of this organization to a small state like St. Lucia. Chair, there is a quality in Kim's service that is not captured in reports or resolutions. It is the quiet assurance that when St. Lucia knocks, someone on the other side is willing to listen. It is the conviction that our size does not diminish our dignity, and that our voice, no matter how small, is worth hearing. That consistency, that humility, that unwavering determination to help have made her an invaluable asset to the people of St. Lucia. Today, with admiration and appreciation, we place on record that Kim Osborne's stewardship has elevated the credibility of this organization. the reaffirmation that essential value of development cooperation within this hemisphere. On behalf of the government, the people of St. Lucia, and especially Ambassador Elizabeth Darius Clark, we extend our profound gratitude to Kim. We wish her continued success and fulfillment, certain that wherever her path leads, she will continue to inspire trust, build bridges, and open doors for those who need them the most. Thank you, Kim, for your service.
Thank you, and thank you all for your admiration for the work of Ms. Osborne, and I will give her the floor now, and I hope she can speak.
Thank you, Chair, and indeed I will try to speak. Truly overwhelmed. Distinguished ambassadors and permanent representatives, alternate representatives, colleagues, all. I'm going to take a deep breath. In 2017, when you confirmed me as Executive Secretary for Integral Development, I stood before you at this very podium and pledged that SETI would not be defined by outputs, but by outcomes. I committed to ensuring that our work, our policies, our cooperation directly touch the lives and people of this hemisphere. I remember saying that the true test would be whether the average citizen in the Americas felt the impact of our work in tangible ways. That mandate has been my compass every single day. Today, as I address you at the close of my tenure, I return to those commitments, not as aspirations, but as a shared work program that we, you, member states, and the Secretariat have translated into people-centered results across the Americas. In 2017, the development pillar faced very real constraints: fragmented programming, limited resources, and a growing list of mandates in an increasingly complex environment. Together, through CD and SETI, we set out to transform that reality. Over these years, we have strengthened CD as the political engine of the development pillar, consolidating it as the forum where ministers and high-level authorities come together to design integrated responses to shared challenges and commit to cooperation. Within SETI, we progressively implemented the One SETI approach, breaking down silos between departments, integrating economic, environmental, and educational work, and making climate change and climate action truly cross-cutting concerns. This transformation has not been abstract. It has meant more strategic work plans aligned with the OAS strategic plan and CD resolutions, stronger linkage between ministerial processes, CD decisions, and General Assembly resolutions, greater use of data and results frameworks in our annual reports to CD, making the development pillar more accountable and transparent to you. We've also strengthened the Inter-American Agency for Cooperation and Development, repositioning it as a modern machinery that promotes, coordinates, and administers programs, projects, and funds, now including CooperaNet and the Language Cooperation Program as two of its flagship initiatives. Internally, SETI has grown, not only in staff numbers, but in capabilities. Between 2005 and 2015, SETI had lost 45 positions. To date, you have added 10 regular fund positions to a team that is more multidisciplinary, more regional in its composition, more gender balanced, and more attuned to the realities on the ground in our countries. That expanded capacity is what has allowed us to accompany you through overlapping crises, particularly the COVID-19 pandemic and the accelerating impacts of climate change. From the beginning, I insisted that our work must not be judged by the number of meetings we hold or the reports we produce, but by whether the average person on the street in our member states feels any difference in their lives. The young woman starting a small business, the teacher striving to teach her students, the port worker working to adapt to new technologies, the farmer confronting droughts and storms. That people-centered lens has guided the design of SETI's programs and networks. Through our economic development work, we have helped micro, small, and medium enterprises, especially women-led firms, navigate an increasingly digital and competitive economy. The Women's Economic Empowerment for Equitable and Resilient Societies WE project has strengthened the capacity of women entrepreneurs in Central America and the Caribbean to use digital tools, formalize their businesses, access finance, and participate in policymaking. The Americas Competitiveness Exchange has become a jewel in our portfolio, bringing together thousands of public, private, and academic leaders to forge new concrete cooperation agreements, build business ventures and research partnerships that generate jobs and innovation back home. Behind each number is a story. The artisan in the Eastern Caribbean who formalized her enterprise and now exports online. The cooperative in Uruguay that used SETI-supported diagnostics to strengthen its governance. The Bahamian advisor helping MSMEs pivot to new markets. One of the deepest expressions of our people-centered, future-oriented vision is the OAS Youth Academy on Transformative Technologies. Launched following the 6th meeting of ministers and high authorities of science and technology, the Youth Academy was conceived as a response to the digital divide and the risk of an entire generation being left behind in the new economy. At that meeting, I said that we would commit to training and certifying at least 10,000 youth by 2024 through the Academy, with a priority focus on people from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, women, and less skilled workers. Today, we can say that the Academy has far surpassed that initial target, with tens of thousands of registered participants from all OAS member states and a balanced representation of women and girls. With courses on artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and coding developed with partners like Meta, MathWorks, Structuralia, Code.org, and others, we have created a hemispheric classroom that prepares young people for decent work and entrepreneurship in the markets and jobs of tomorrow. To ensure that the benefits of the transformative technologies extend beyond training and into research, innovation, and policy, we have built and expanded the OAS network of Centers of Excellence on Transformative Technologies, starting with initial centers in technology foresight on blockchain, robotics, and AI. The network has grown to include centers focused on the circular economy and ocean science, with active hubs in Argentina, Colombia, Mexico, Chile, Brazil, Peru, and soon Panama, Jamaica, and we hope Uruguay. These centers are not academic islands. They are designed to work with governments, private sector, and civil society to map technological trends, advise on policy, and co-create practical solutions, from AI frameworks that protect rights and democracy to robotics applications that improve productivity of small firms to ocean-centered innovation that safeguard our blue economies. We knew that in a multilingual hemisphere, opportunity is often unlocked or blocked by language. Under the IACD and through CooperaNet, we consolidated the OAS Language Cooperation Program as the official program on language training for the organization. The LCP now offers courses in Spanish, English, and French, and soon we hope Portuguese, enabling students, teachers, public servants, and professionals across the Americas to acquire language skills that improve their employability and their capacity to engage in regional cooperation. For me, distinguished member states, these are not just statistics. They are about the young graduate in a rural community who will be able to interview for a job with an international company. The public servant who can better navigate inter-American discussions. The teacher who confidentially delivers bilingual lessons. If the last decade has taught us anything, it is that development in the Americas will stand or fall on our collective ability to confront the climate crisis. SETI has played a central role in advancing a hemispheric climate agenda. At the 4th meeting of ministers and high-level authorities on sustainable development, member states adopted the Nassau Declaration and the Inter-American Climate Action Plan 2023-2030 and entrusted CD and SETI with supporting their implementation, including follow-up on the Bahamas Declaration on Climate Finance in the Americas. We have approached that task with the same people-centered spirit, focusing on how climate finance, energy transitions, integrated water resources management, ocean governance, and resilience programs translate into safer homes, secure livelihoods, and better health for our citizens. A milestone of this journey is the building of a science and data-based agenda for decision-making on risk and resilience in the Caribbean, and the establishment of the Collaboratory on Risk and Resilience, which is conceived as a regional platform that brings together national, regional, and global agencies with the private sector and academia, development banks, and others to co-create knowledge, align data efforts, and strengthen decision-making and resilience from early warning systems and geospatial intelligence to resilience health systems and citizen-generated data. It embodies exactly what we set out to do in 2017. Leverage partnerships, science, and evidence for the benefit of the most vulnerable communities. We have translated the mandates of the Inter-American Democratic Charter through our initiative on education for democratic participation into a tangible working initiative on civic education to ensure that the citizens of tomorrow are well prepared to actively engage in our democratic process. Over the years, the ministerial processes supported by SETI have become more than occasional conferences. They have evolved into sustainable policy communities that deliver. Through 11 ministerial and high-level authority processes and multiple subject matter dialogues, SETI has ensured that political commitments are translated into cooperation projects, technical documents, training programs, and networks that reach millions. From the very beginning, I said that SETI's comparative advantage lay in its ability to convene and connect, to be a bridge among governments, multilateral institutions, development banks, private sector, academia, and civil society. That conviction has shaped everything we have done. Triangular and South-South cooperation initiatives that allow countries of all sizes to share solutions and expertise. Strategic partnerships with organizations such as the World Bank, CAF, the CDB, IAI, PAHO, UN agencies, and other many universities and research institutions to mobilize technical and financial resources. Alliances with private sector actors from technology companies such as Meta, Amazon Web Services, Starlink, MathWorks, and many others, supporting the Youth Academy and data initiatives on tourism and creative industry partners, amplifying our culture and tourism programs. We have also worked deliberately with civil society and social actors brought civil society and social actors into the heart of our work. We began showcasing our work and contributing to international fora, such as the OECD Latin American Outlook Report, becoming a member of the steering committee of the OECD-hosted Total Official Support for Sustainable Development, TOSD, and many more. Our high-level policy dialogues here in Washington has brought together heads of the largest technology firms together with leaders in academia to discuss the all-pervasive issue of AI and how best to responsibly harness it for prosperity in our region. And our partnerships for disaster response has resulted in the sourcing of relief supplies and the delivery of communications and satellite imagery in disaster zones. This web of partnership is not incidental. It is the only way, in a context of limited resources, that we can ensure that our programs are scaled, sustainable, and responsive to the emerging needs you bring to the CD's table. And speaking of resources, I am proud to report that over the past 10 years, SETI has raised $216,992,000 in specific funds for programs and projects within the context of the OAS, and mobilized for member states an additional $217 million, meaning funding generated by SETI but directly to member states. And I believe very strongly that that is what we ought to do. It is not so much about bringing money into the coffers of the member states of the OAS. It is to ensure that benefits accrue directly to our member states. In total, the SETI's direct contribution to member states over the past 10 years stands at $433,992,000. This, distinguished ambassadors and member states, does not include the partnerships and the investments that we have brokered in support of our member states. When I think back of that morning in January 2017, when my appointment as Executive Secretary for Integral Development was confirmed by acclamation, I remember both the honor and the weight of the responsibility that I felt. I also remember the promise that I made to work with you to ensure that the development pillar of the OAS would be coherent, purposeful, and genuinely responsive to the priorities of all member states, regardless of size, income level, or geography. Have we resolved every problem? No. The hemisphere still faces deep inequalities, unresolved structural challenges, and new risks from climate impacts to technological disruption, which will require persistent, innovative, and courageous responses. But I believe that we can say together with you, our member states, CD and SETI are stronger, more integrated, and more strategic today than we were in 2017. Our many flagship programs, which you know well, are touching the lives of real people in real communities. Our way of working, one SETI, multi-sectoral partnerships driven, grounded in data and evidence, is now embedded in the culture of the development pillar. For this, I owe an enormous debt of gratitude to member states. You trusted me, you challenged me, you guided me, you made this work possible. I thank you for your leadership and for allowing me to walk beside you. To ambassadors, alternate representatives, and permanent missions, your support, dialogue, and diplomacy shaped every success we achieved. And here I pause to specifically thank the Caribbean Caucus of Ambassadors, the Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Mexico, the United States, Brazil, the Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Brazil, Peru, Costa Rica, and many others for their steadfast support. And of course, I have to thank my own country, Dominica, and through you, Ambassador, the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, His Excellency Roosevelt Skerrit, our Foreign Minister, Dr. Vince Henderson, and the entire delegation and people of Dominica for the support that you have shown over the past 10 years. I thank you, and I hope that I have done you proud. To ministers and high authorities, your commitments in sectoral ministerials did not remain on paper. You turned them into programs, reforms, and policies felt by millions. To partners and institutions, thank you for believing in collaboration as the engine of hemispheric development. To my colleagues across the OAS pillars, thank you for embracing the ideal that development, democracy, and human rights and security are inseparable, and for seeking synergies rather than silos. To the staff of SETI, you are at the heart of this story. Your professionalism, creativity, and resilience, often under intense pressure and with scarce resources, made it possible for us to deliver. I would be remiss if I did not recognize those among my team who have stood by my side both personally and professionally. Fabienne Victora, Sandra Burns, Cleta Springer, and of course, my dear Jan Rudder, who has worked tirelessly beside me daily. I beg your indulgence in allowing me to recognize my family, whose love and support has been my constant. My husband, Edward, my rock, who's here with me today, and my children, Eli and Aria. Thank you for your patience through the long hours and your forgiveness for missing so many family activities. Today, as I speak at the close of my tenure as Executive Secretary, I do so filled with gratitude and deep reflection. But I must also speak with honesty. My decision to conclude this chapter is not driven by departure or disengagement or distance. It is driven by something much more personal, my health, and my commitment to safeguarding it. The pace and demands of leadership in this role are high, and they require the fullness of one's strength. Where once I pushed through every limitation, I am now forced to choose a balanced path, a sustainable path, a path that honors both responsibility and well-being. And so I'm stepping down from this post, not because my commitment to this organization has lessened, but because I value the ability to continue contributing to its future. I'm not leaving the OAS family. Instead, I will transition to my previous role, albeit a more expanded role of overseeing development cooperation and partnerships, amplifying the work of the IACD and driving forward a cooperation agenda firmly rooted in SDG 17, Partnership for Goals. The work continues, only the vantage point changes. From the start, I believe that SETI's greatest comparative advantage was not just expertise, but its convening power. Partnerships have become our currency, our multiplier, and our engine. We united governments, private sector, innovators, universities, development banks, scientists, entrepreneurs, civil society, and multilaterals. We leveraged triangular and South-South cooperation to ensure that solutions generated in one country can scale to many. We built trust, we built bridges, we turned the networks into pipelines of opportunity. And now this is where I will continue to serve. In my next role leading development cooperation and partnerships, I will devote my energy to expanding the reach and resources of the Inter-American Agency for Cooperation and Development, strengthening cooperation mechanisms, and forging alliances that allow member states to access greater development assistance, technology, knowledge, and investment. My health requires that I shift how I work, but my mission remains unchanged. I will continue to serve you with focus, with conviction, and with renewed sustainability of spirit. And finally, to every citizen of the Americas whose life intersected with one of our programs, networks, or training initiatives, know that you were always the reason. You were always the priority. I close not with farewell, but with forward motion and a deep, deep gratitude to every one of you. Thank you so much for everything that you have given me, for the support. None of this is possible, I've said this many times, without you, our member states. I remain eternally grateful. I am here to continue to serve you, to walk with you. Thank you for the honor that you've bestowed on me over these last few years, and I treasure it deeply. My family and I are eternally grateful. My country remains grateful to you for the support and the confidence that you have placed in me as Executive Secretary. I thank you.
And this is why we need CD and Sadie and Ms. Osborne. I have asked the Secretariat to distribute her, it was more like a report of these past years, but I think it gives us very good insight of what has been done and what we are here for. Thank you very much, Ms. Osborne. And the hug was on behalf of all of us. I have a commitment, so I have to go, and I hope Bahamas won.
Yes, Chair, and
seconds.
I do apologize for taking the floor. I guess you beat me to it. The Bahamas was going to ask for a standing ovation, but we'd also like to make 2 points. We'd like to, first of all, reflect with much pity and shame that we don't see the executive management here at this critical moment. If you could convey to the executive management that we would have had much reflection to have them here, given the value and work that Ms. Osborne has put into this organization. We see nobody here from executive management. We do see the staff members, of which we'd like to thank SETI, because they have performed admirably. And we do also give special recognition to Edward for loaning us Kim over a number of years, and also for going through as much as you have gone through the challenges. So as we close, I would ask, seeing that you preempted, for another round, a standing ovation for Kim as she heads on to another role. Thank you.
Thank you, and we now turn to item 5, other business. I hope there is none, so we can close this meeting, because I have to go to the State Department with the Speaker of my Parliament. I'm sorry. So, is there any other business? If not, then I close this meeting, and I thank all of you for your presence and your participation in the last semester. Thank you very much, and have a nice Christmas and end of the year.
corazón de la sabana de Bogotá existe un lugar que guarda huellas milenarias del arte rupestre